Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be working on a faux pecan pie. Now I have looked on YouTube and I've looked on Pinterest and I have not found anyone that has given a tutorial on how to make a faux pecan pie. So this is all my own and everything actually on how to make this. So let me go ahead and show you the base part of this, and then once we do the base of this, then I'll show you how we're going to actually make our faux pecans. Okay, so I have a pie plate again from the Dollar Tree, and I cut a piece of cereal box so that once we cut our foam, then we can place the foam down into the pie plate and then put the cardboard on top. So what I did was I took the cereal box and I traced it along the top here. And then I have my piece of foam. Again, like I've mentioned in other videos, that this came in like some packaging of something that I had ordered online. Now, you won't be able to see this, but I did trace exactly where I need to cut. And then when I'm going to cut this out, and I'll put it, hot glue it down in here. So I'm going to go ahead and go by, and I'm using a utility knife from the Dollar Tree. And cut here. It will get a little bit messy, but that's okay. It's not a problem. I can clean all of this up and everything, but it will get a little bit messy. The little pieces tend to fly everywhere. And it does cut pretty easily. Now let's see if whether or not this will fit down in here. You see the mess that it makes. All right, so it needs to be cut down a little bit more. Cut a little bit more off. Okay, just a little bit more. But you want to make sure that it sits flat down in the bottom. A lot more to cut off than I thought that there was. Okay, so we're pretty good to go here. See how it fits down in there good? So let me move some of these to the side. As you see, this is quite messy, but we can get it up here and throw all this away. Oh, see, it flies everywhere. Oh goodness. All right, let me throw this away real quick. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and hot glue the foam down in here. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put some glue on down in here. And then press it down in the bottom of the pie plate. Okay, now that we have this down in the bottom, I'll go ahead and get the cardboard, which is our cereal box, glue down on top. So I'll go ahead and press some glue down in here good, on top of my foam, and around the edges just in case. wherever the cardboard piece can adhere to. So now for our faux pie here, I will be using some lightweight spackle again. I've mentioned this in a few other previous videos. This is by DAP. I picked this up from Lowe's. You can get it at Home Depot, Walmart, Dollar Tree. Different ones sell different brands, but I have this whole 1 gallon because it will be used for several different projects. And I have a little plastic knife here so I can do the spreading. So what I'll do is I'm going to get a nice size dollop of spackle. And all I'm gonna do is just spread this out. Now it's gonna try to lift up a little bit. I've had problems with that with some of the other faux desserts that I was making, but you just have to press it down and eventually it will get down with no problem. I'm excited to show y'all this one because I have a way that I have found to make faux pecans, and I'll show you a little bit later in the video how I did that. So as you see, I have it all spread around real nicely, and then I will continue to spread this out real nice and even, and then we will let this dry overnight. And then once this is all dry, then we'll go to the next step, as in like what we did with the pumpkin pie, and we will paint it and then apply the pecans. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And then for the actual crust around the edges itself, we'll do the same thing that we did the other day when we made the mini pies. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna roll it out along the side here. Can you see that? I'm not sure. And get some more in my hand here. Nice dollop in my hand. Then start the rolling. Almost like a tube shape. And then we'll put it on here and spread it out. And then once all this is on here, then we'll press it down like we did with the mini pumpkin pies. Okay. And as it sits, it will become more firm, a little bit easier to work with. Okay, this is not rolling for me. Let me see if I can find some down here a little bit further. Okay, I put some back in here that had some paint to it, so I think what happened was it was a little bit too loose and I couldn't get it to roll. All right, this piece is doing a lot better. And then I'll just stretch it out as I go. Can you see what I'm doing there? Just stretch it out along as you go. Okay, now we're almost to the end. Can get a little bit messy here. You see it's all in my hands, but it's easy to get off and clean up. All right, this piece doesn't seem to be working well. Let's get some more. Okay. I think my hands are all wet, so it's not letting it, I'm not able to roll very well. Let me dry my hands off good, and maybe once I do that, it will work a little bit better. Let me grab a paper towel here. Try to wipe this off my hands good. Okay, so see how that worked? So if you get like that, just try to wipe it off good, and hopefully it will work a little bit easier. I think what it is your hands become so moist that it's just hard for it to roll. Okay, I just need a tiny little piece there. Okay, then I think that's going to fix that edge a little bit. Try to scrape what I can off of here on back in there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and scrape off my knife and close this back up so it doesn't try to dry out. And you see for the projects, let me show you though real quick, while that's trying to dry a little bit. So you see how much I've used. I mean, I've put a good dent into this with the several different projects that I've done already. And I do have a few other projects in mind as well. So this will go a long ways. So I would say I've probably gone about halfway through it already with just those few projects that I've already done. All right, so I'm gonna press it down on there real good. Okay, now that this has been sitting for just a little bit, this is what it looks like so far. And we're gonna do the same exact method as we did with the pumpkin pie. I'm just gonna take my finger and I'm just gonna press down in there so that it forms that edging that you would see on the for a pecan or for a pie. Okay, it's still a little bit wet in some areas. I may just let it dry for just a little bit longer because it's starting to uplift a little bit. There's what we have so far. Can you see the way that we made those little indentions in there? I'm gonna lightly tap. All right, that's what we have so far. So I'm gonna let this dry, like I said, overnight. And then once this is nice and dry, then we'll get ready to paint it. And like I mentioned, also we'll paint it and then I'll show you how we're gonna make our pecans. So I'll be right back and we'll get to that once this is dry. All right, so now that we have this faux pie completely dry now, you see it looks like that. We're gonna go ahead and paint it just like we did with our pumpkin pie. So this is gonna be the pecan pie. And I already have it all mixed up here already. So we're gonna repeat again the same process. And we're gonna paint the pie. And then once all this is painted, and dry, then we'll go ahead and place on our pecans. And I'll show you exactly how we're gonna do that. So let me go ahead and get this all painted, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the pecans. Be right back. All right, so now we have the main part of the pie almost painted all the way here. And once we complete this part, then we can move on to the crust. Now, the colors, again, that I used was the Anita's Terracotta and the Apple Barrel Brown Oxide. So those are the two colors that I have there that I used. I want to show you the example of the one that I do have complete of our pumpkin pie. And what I did was I did go back and I did add some brown paint along the edges so it could look a little bit more, let me move this one to the side here, a little bit more authentic. So you can see there's places like right in here and back over here and down here where I did add a little bit of brown, and I just brushed it on with a dry brush, and then I took a paper towel and I just rubbed against the wet paint so that it wouldn't be so dark and harsh. So this is our pumpkin pie that's complete. And then this one is probably a little bit too bright to be a pecan. I have to go back and look at pictures again. If I do want a little bit darker, I can take the brown and just kind of dry brush it on there. All right, so then for our crust, I mixed again together the Anita's caramel, the light mocha and apple barrel, and the antique white and the apple barrel as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on painting this part. And if you feel like that it's too bright or it's not the exact color, it's not like you can't go back and add a little bit more. Or like I said, with the brown, you can add that at the end as well to kind of darken up some places that may look like that it needs more like an authentic pie, like it's been baked. So you have to make sure that you get down on all these little edges down here on the inside, otherwise you'll keep seeing the white. And that's what we have so far. I'm going to keep going all the way around. And then I have purchased a pecan mold for our faux pecans, and I will show you how we did that as well. I'm going to go ahead and paint all around here. Get all these little edges. All right, so once I have this all completed, I'll show you what this looks like. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna let our pie dry. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use this one that I already have prepped. And we are gonna go ahead and get started on our pecans. Okay, so I have this mold that I purchased off of Etsy, and it's called FlexibleMolds. And I don't remember the pricing on it. I want to say it was like $12, somewhere around there for this particular mold. So the way that I did this was I purchased the clay, and I keep it in this bag so that we can try to keep as much air out as possible. but it is the Crayola Air Dry Clay. So what you'll need to do is, once you open it up, it looks like this, okay? And you just grab out a piece and kind of roll it within your fingers, and then you push it down into your mold here. You have to let the clay dry overnight, and then by the morning to later in the afternoon, you can go ahead and push the faux pecans out of the mold. So I have my wax paper here. We already started on some of the faux pecans before. And here's some that I already have that I've already painted. So I have 2 batches here. And then here are some here that they are dry. So I'm going to go ahead and place all my pecans down here on my wax paper so I can get ready to paint them. Then once they're painted and dry, I can go ahead and put them on my pie. You may have to use several coats of paint. I started noticing that it seemed like there was still a little bit of places where you could still see the white from the clay. So I did have to go over about 3 times to fix that problem. Here's our little mini pie as well, so we're going to do that one also. And here's my paint that I have made up. This again is the 2 shades that we just worked with. It's the Apple Barrel Brown Oxide and the Anita's Terracotta. So what I did was I took more of the Brown Oxide as my main color, and then I squirted just a little bit of the Terracotta. So that way I had more brown than I did the terracotta color. And then you just go right over and paint your pecans. You may want to have to kind of dab along the top and the sides to, you know, once you lift your finger back off of there. And I'll bring you in a little bit closer so you can see what it looked like. You do have the little places in the middle there of the pecan that you have to get your brush down in there as well. And then these spots that you may have missed, you can go back over that once it dries. Okay, so that's what those look like so far. I don't know if you can see. If I lift it up though, it's going to pull all the paint back off. You probably can't see that well. All right, let me get these all painted. And once these are all complete and dry, then we'll go ahead and place them on our pie. Be right back. All right, so while we are letting those sit there and dry, we're gonna go ahead with our pie here and use the ones that we have that are already ready. So let me grab my hot glue gun here. And, you know, you can either go around like in a circular type pattern or just wherever. I'm just going to go ahead and just place them wherever. That's what we have so far there. I'm just going to put them all around kind of haphazardly. The strings are, the strings are going everywhere. There we go. I'm not having any sort of, they're not going to be any certain method. I'm just going to place them on here wherever. Okay. Okay, let me place this over here. Sorry, all these glue strands are going all over the place. All right, so there's half of our pie so far. I see an edge of that pecan that I need to go back in and paint, but that's perfectly fine. I can go back over it. All right, so I think the ones that I have dry here, I'm not going to have quite enough, but I'll check to see with the ones that I just painted if I have any of those dry that I can use. All right, so that's what we have so far of this one. Like I said, all these little glue strands are all over the place. All right, so that's what it looks like so far. And then here's our pecans that we're letting dry here. Let's see if I have any that I might could use. I think I only need a few of these, so I'll find the ones here that are dry. All right, so here's a few here. All right, so there's what our pie looks like. I think it turned out real well. I might be able to put another one like right over here where I have a little bit of an open space. Let me see if I can find maybe a small piece. I think it'll be okay right there. Gonna fill in this little hole over here. Okay. There we go. So there we have it completed. Now there are a few that I do need to clean up and add a little extra paint to them, but I can easily do that with a small brush. But I love the way that it turned out. And let's see, then once, I don't know if I have any still dry. I think I can work with some of these. And I only need a few of these to do our little mini pie. So let me see what I can work with on this one. Okay, this one's looking real good too. Let me see if I can put one more here on this one. Let's see if there was a way that I could scoot another one on here, but I may just have to, whoops, may just have to leave it. Maybe I can get one more. Let's see if we can fit one more on here. You know what, I think I'll leave it at that for now. I do see a little bit of the clay residue, so I have to go back and clean that up. But the little strands are all over the place again. Okay, so there is our little one. We still have all these little strands. Okay, so there's our little one there. And like I said, I just have to touch it up with a brown. And then this is our larger pie. So I hope that this video gives you some inspiration and that you know, you'll try it for yourself. And I'll be using it in my hutch. So I'm so excited to show y'all my fall home tour once I get it complete and everything. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, I'd love for you to join my YouTube family. And thanks for watching. Bye.